Coming up on News 11. SUNY Fredonia police officers are now beginning to wear body cameras when on duty. An investigation of Buffalo State student who was stabbed on UB's campus is still underway. And a guilty verdict has been found in Alex Jones' Sandy Hook defamation case. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now. Les Davis.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik. Well, Andy, we have a lot of reporters that did stories this week, so let's jump right into some of them.
Well, our first story tonight talks about new updates that are being made within SUNY Fredonia's University Police Department, and Chloe was in Fredonia to get the scoop.
Have a new addition to their uniforms: body cameras. But UP wasn't mandated to make the decision to wear them. Instead, University Police Chief Brent Isaacson said this was a conscious choice.
Police departments around the United States are moving to body cameras. They're a fantastic way to get an objective record of what happens anytime a police officer interacts with a civilian.
The officers will activate the cameras themselves using a small button on the camera. Whenever an officer answers a call, they are required to turn the cameras on. However, whenever an officer is off duty, the body cams will not be activated. Also, whenever an officer unholsters a gun, the cameras will automatically be activated. Although UP just started wearing body cams, the village of Fredonia police have had them for nearly 6 years. Since the police downtown were already wearing body cams, the Fredonia community was happy to hear UP was getting them too.
Honestly, I think it's great. I think it adds another level of security not only in the community but also on campus.
The footage from both departments is kept confidential unless it is used in court. Reporting from Fredonia, I'm Chloe Kowalik, News 11.
SUNY Fredonia's University Police can be reached at 716-673-3331. The Fredonia Police Department can be reached at 716-679-1531.
With colleges seeing a decrease in enrollment, schools are having to find new ways to reach prospective students. And SUNY JCC is one of them. Reporter Will Carr takes us on a field trip to the college's campus.
While young adults have traditionally headed off to campus, colleges are now being tasked with going to where the students are. Jamestown Community College is expanding its services in the Dunkirk region. JCC currently has 2 different campus locations, a main campus in Jamestown and one in Olean. However, JCC also has 2 satellite centers where they offer smaller course selections. JCC's current North County Center is located on Route 60 in Dunkirk. Jamestown Community College is planning on opening a second North Shore campus right here on Central Ave, right across the street from JBC's campus. Many colleges have expanded their services into the downtown Dunkirk region, including SUNY Fredonia. JCC is now following suit. They plan to renovate the Graff building with the help of the city. We visited City Hall to speak with Dunkirk's Director of Planning and Development, Vincent DeJoy.
There's a lot of transportation issues, challenges with some of their students, and having a downtown campus would be far easier on them for transportation because it is walkable here in Dunkirk.
By expanding to a more central location, JCC is working to make its services more accessible. We interviewed local SUNY college students to see if they knew JCC already had a center in Dunkirk.
I didn't even know there was a campus over here for JCC. If I knew there was a campus closer, like SUNY JCC, I would have gone there first and then came to Fredonia.
SUNY Fredonia is already experiencing low enrollment, and JCC's expansion could potentially take students away from Fredonia. Meanwhile, JCC is hoping the move will raise awareness to its own presence and offerings in the Dunkirk region. I'm Will Carr with News 11.
With a lot of colleges decreasing their services and offerings in recent years, it's a definite change to see one that is expanding into new areas.
The The town of Clymer was full of life this past Sunday thanks again to an annual resort festival. Alana Wingett has the story.
The Peak and Peak Resort's 34th annual Fall Festival grabbed the attention of everyone, presenting a variety of appealing things to do for kids, adults, and their furry friends, including a pumpkin cannon.
I think it's a fantastic place to be, you know, all the kids running around, dogs all around, you know, everyone's just super happy, and yeah, it's a great place to be.
The festival hosts many vendors who make the trip to bring a variety of items that others may consider a unique find.
We do a lot of customized options, customized tumblers, wood items, 3D printed items, jewelry. We offer a lot of customized products.
While most of the vendors are repeat attenders, the resort's marketing rep says there's always opportunities for newcomers.
We have an online application. It's a lot of word of mouth too. It's a lot of familiar faces from years past, but then they tell their friends.
Come rain or shine, the Fall Fest has always been held at the start of fall. However, owner Nick Scott Sr. shared his appreciation for the nice weather.
This year we were very fortunate because a lot of the things at the Peak are weather driven. And this year we had 2 weekends and 4 perfect days. So we're very happy with those results.
With an activity to do at every turn, there's no shortage of things to do.
They got beer, they got apple cider with vodka, they have wine tasting, like whatever you're liking, they got it. So the drinks are great. The drinks are very good.
In the end, the festival catered to everyone, whether you were 6 or 60.
It is pretty cool. I like it, but it is.
And while the Fall Fest may be over, many Peak and Peak visitors are excited as soon as it means that their ski season starts soon.
With Halloween upon us, people are starting to get into a haunted spirit with the return of a Fredonia event. And Andy went out into the field to find out what Fredonia's Immersive Theater has in store for this year's spooky season.
This past weekend, Fredonia's Immersive Theater Club kicked off their annual production of Terror in the Trees, an event they've done for several years on the hiking trail near the clock tower. During the day, this may look like a normal hiking spot. But at night, things get a little bit spookier on the trail. This year's Phobia Forest features some of the most common types of phobias.
Each of us kind of has our own role, so like it's cool. The trail is split up into different sections, so like you'll enter like a clown area and then you'll enter another area, which I won't say because I want it to be a surprise, but it's all split up into different sections that have different themes. It's cool.
However, this is one of the first years since the COVID-19 pandemic where the club has the kind of involvement and success it's had.
We had to skip a year of terror because even with masks on and everything, it was just too much of a risk. So yeah, it really killed us for a while.
Despite Immersive Theater's battle with COVID, they welcome people of all different kinds of majors who love to do theater in a way that involves their audience in the process.
We just love being able to do theater in a way that isn't usually done. So being able to do that while people are getting scared just makes it a lot more fun.
The Phobia Forest cast will have their final 2 performances this season, this upcoming Friday and Saturday night. I'm Andy Velez Davis, News 11.
And for more information for more events or how to get involved with the club, follow Fred Immersive on Instagram.
Moving on to the rest of Western New York, John Frederick Daniels, Cold Springs native, completed a mural on Tuesday. The mural is in honor of the 10 victims of the shooting in Buffalo 5 months ago. The mural is called the Jefferson 10. The painting is on the Landon Street facing the Tops and Jefferson Avenue. Daniels said, quote, "This community here is big on family and helping each other," end quote. Daniels also said that knowing that we had to put something together shows that even though it was a tragedy, our community can come together and fight through it no matter what the tragedy is, end quote. The mural has doves that symbolize each of the 10 victims.
A Buffalo State student lost their life in a stabbing incident that occurred on the University of Buffalo's campus this past weekend. Tyler Lewis, a 19-year-old pre-business major from Baldwin, New York, was stabbed near the Ellicott residence complexes on UB's campus early Friday night. Students on campus say that it's a real eye-opener and that more needs to be done. Olivia Sabeto, a sophomore student at UB, said, quote, "It's nerve-wracking and upsetting that nothing is really happening, but at that point, it's out of my control, and I just hope and pray," end quote. The university police say several witnesses have come forward and are making what they call, quote, "significant progress" in the investigation. They believe Lewis was targeted. Investigators on the case say that the attack was likely the result of a physical altercation among people who knew each other.
Bills quarterback Josh Allen has announced a donation of over about $2 million from the West Her Auto Group to the Patricia Allen Fund of Oishi Children's Hospital. The donation marks the single largest donation to the fund since its launch back in 2020. Allen added, quote, "The gift is not a small one, I'll tell you that," during the announcement at the hospital on Monday. In November 2020, Oishi announced that it's planned to honor Patricia Allen, Josh Allen's grandmother, after her death in November. Allen added, quote, "It was just kind of an act of compassion of fans, trying to make a bad situation better for me and my family," end quote. A plaque honoring West Her and their donation was also revealed at the announcement. $750,000 of donation money has already gone to great use. Scott Beeler, the president and CEO of the West Her, said a specialized microscope was purchased. He added it will give neurosurgeons at the hospital cutting-edge technology. How the remainder of the funds are to be used in the hospital is to be determined. Now, when we come back, we will have your national headlines. We'll be right back.
When you think of the Local Lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the Local Lowdown, it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's gotta be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The Local Lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show.
Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, the band merch. You can't forget about the merch.
Alex Jones has been ordered to pay almost $1 billion to the families of the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting victims, as well as an FBI agent. Jones, a conspiracy theorist, made claims that the shooting was not real and that it was actually a plot to promote gun control. Jones turned the family's trauma and loss into a means of pushing an agenda. The payment of nearly $1 billion comes after 26 families filed a defamation lawsuit. Jones responded to the situation by claiming the trial was false and blamed the left for being, quote, out of control. Jones now faces a third trial in Texas, where a lawsuit filed by the parents of another child who was killed in the shooting.
According to the co-founder of Pfizer's, a vaccine for cancer may only be a few years away. Quote, "We feel that a cure for cancer or changing cancer patients' lives is in our grasp," said Professor Özlem Töresi during an interview with BBC News over the weekend. Her husband, Professor Özgür Sanhi, with whom he co-founded the German pharmaceutical company Biotech, said he thought cancer vaccines could be widely available before 2030, end quote. There has been a long-standing effort by scientists to develop a cancer vaccine. A possible approach is to train the immune system to detect and destroy cancer cells, ideally preventing cancer from ever occurring. Further along, the other types of vaccines designed to treat people who have already have cancer, including one FDA-approved cancer vaccine for people with advanced prostate cancer. Dr. Sam Godfrey, Research Information Lead at Cancer Research UK, said, quote, "The development of the several COVID vaccines in record time shows the possibilities of mRNA vaccine technology, which could one day become an effective treatment to help people beat cancer," end quote. Many other pharmaceutical companies, include vaccine maker Moderna, are also working on mRNA vaccines to target specific cancers.
Weeks after Hurricane Ian hit Florida, many are still living in shelters. As of Tuesday, 476 people remained in 2 public shelters in Lee County. Within the county, 5,041 residential properties were destroyed and 13,052 are suffering major damage. One resident, Kiana Tobler, is a single mother of 2 boys. She said, quote, "It's just real frustrating," end quote. Many low-income residents are struggling to get back on their feet following the disaster. Those who were homeless prior to the hurricane find themselves struggling to access the resources they need. The American Red Cross is on the scene and is running the shelters, but many are still finding themselves unable to get back on their feet. Other residents are considering moving states. Tracy Salters, who was affected by the hurricane herself, said she may even move up to New Jersey, where she has family.
During the late 19th century, more than 400 federally supported boarding schools abused and tortured Native American students. A report states that at least 500 children were killed in the schools. Starting with the Indian Civilization Act of 1819, the U.S. enacted laws and policies to establish and support the schools. The stated goal was to civilize Native Americans, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiians, but that was often carried through practices of abuse. Students were fed infested food and were locked in basements of the school. Most of these schools are closed today. Now the U.S. Congress is working to create a boarding school and Truth in Healing Commission. It would have a broader scope to the Interior Departments of Investigation to federally run boarding schools and subpoena power if passed.
Before you bake another batch of cookies, take a closer look inside your fridge. Nestle is announcing a voluntary recall of its ready-to-bake Nestle Toll House stuffed chocolate chip cookie dough with fudge filling products. According to the Food and Drug Administration, the items in question may contain small pieces of plastic. The recall is in effect for the dough produced between June and September of this year. There are no reports of related illnesses or injuries. Officials say this move is being taken out of caution. Consumers are advised to return the dough to the place of purchase for a full refund. More information is available on the FDA's website.
2 men survived a grizzly bear attack in the Shoshone National Forest in northwestern Wyoming. According to the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, the attack happened when college sophomores Kendall Cummings and Brady Lowry separated from their group of 4 and went off the trail to search for antlers shed by deer and elk. The station says the grizzly attacked Lowry first, then Cummings jumped onto the back of the bear to free Lowry, but that only led the bear to start attacking Cummings. The men called 911 while other hunters in the area were able to get them to the trailhead to meet with the search and rescue teams. Cummings was flown to the hospital, and Lowry was taken by ambulance. Region Wildlife Supervisor Dan Smith says that the agency doesn't plan to take any action against the grizzly bear due to the attack being caused by the bear being surprised and not being able to identify which bear was involved in the attack. Now, when we come back, Trevor Howard joins us for his first time this year as our sports anchor, and Alice switches over to give us a look at weather. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
us for the first time this semester is our Sports Hour host, Trevor Hauer. Trevor, it's been a busy week across all aspects of the sports world. What do you have for us?
Well, in local sports, the Fredonia men's soccer team traveled 8 hours to Plattsburgh and returned victorious, beating their opponent 3-2. After Marcus Johansson and Caleb Stewart tied the game 2-2, Robert Abagwe scored the game-winning goal with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. This win helps the team's odds of qualifying for the postseason conference tournament. The Devils will play their next game on Saturday at Oneonta at 12 p.m. This past Sunday, the Buffalo Bills made a return journey to Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium in a huge way, hurtling to top the Chiefs 24-20. And I mean that quite literally, as Josh Allen once again jumped clear over an opponent in efforts to move further downfield. The teams were very evenly matched throughout the game, keeping fans on the edge of their seat, but ultimately giving the Buffalo fans some closure after the last meeting of the two teams. Josh Allen threw for 329 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Stephon Diggs had a touchdown and 148 receiving yards. And both Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox caught their own touchdown moment. Taron Johnson intercepted Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter, sealing the deal for the Bills and sending the Buffalo Bills into their bye week on a high note. They will play the Green Bay Packers in Week 8 on October 30th at 8:20 p.m. on NBC. The Buffalo Sabres have now played their first 3 games of the season, winning in the home opener against the Ottawa Senators 4-1, which I had the pleasure of being at. They lost a close second game 4-3 against the Florida Panthers and then won the third 4-2 against the Edmonton Oilers. Rasmus Dahlin and Alex Tuch have been standouts so far this season, and the Sabres are third in the Atlantic Division right now. Buffalo will play their next away game tonight at 9:30 p.m. against the Calgary Flames. Finally, the Houston Astros took on the New York Yankees last night in the ALCS, Game 1, and thanks to Houston's Justin Verlander throwing 11 strikeouts in 6 innings, the Astros came out on top with a final score of 4-2. Game 2 is going on right now, and we'll have to wait and see who will take the victory tonight.
So, Trevor, now that the Bills are on a bye week, what are you going to do this weekend?
I mean, you could always sit back and watch Game 3 of the American League Championship Series between the Astros and the Yankees. That's going to be at Yankee Stadium. You could also watch some UB Bulls football and all the other college football conferences going around as far as the local area and the national college sports.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Well, it looks like Ali's jumping all over the News 11 positions because this week she's our weather anchor. Ali, what do you have for us this week?
Well, let's get the good. Low 60s tomorrow with a high of 61 degrees. We should also be seeing nothing but blue skies throughout Friday. If there's anything negative about tomorrow's forecast, the wind should be making it feel a little bit cooler, even with the sun due to the dirty, mild wind gusts throughout the day. Overall, Friday is starting to look like a great start to your weekend. And speaking of weekend, I'll have to look at that later in the show.
All right, thank you so much, Ali. We'll be hearing more from you in a little bit. But when we come back, we have your first international headlines. We'll be right back.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day.
Millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles, watching each other's backs,
And banding together.
we should still make an effort
We should still make an effort.
to get to know each other.
On a deeper level. Father.
Cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward. Come together
And discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Has forced the European Union to confront its expensive dependence on Russian gas. A new report shows that wind and solar power have made up 24% of the bloc's electricity mix since February. That's a record, and the growth in renewable power capacity has saved the EU nations nearly $97 billion. But the European Union is still struggling to cope with the high energy prices ahead of the winter. On Thursday, the European Commission proposed new emergency measures to create, quote, energy union, but did not impose a price cap on gas.
Vincent van Gogh's famous sunflower painting was vandalized earlier this week in London. Footage showed two protesters throwing tomato soup at the famous painting. The protesters were wearing shirts that said, "Just Stop Oil," for environmental activism. They also glued their hands to the wall after they threw the soup. The two got arrested and the painting was restored back to its original form because there was glass protecting the painting. London's National Gallery, where the painting is being held, said that only a part of the frame was damaged. This is just one of the string of attacks on the famous paintings, one of them including the Mona Lisa.
Thousands of people swarmed Bondi Beach in Australia on Monday evening to witness Ned Brockman, a 23-year-old tradesman who hails from Forbes and now lives in Sydney's east, complete a 47-day journey on foot from Perth. Brockman had set out from Cotswold Beach on September 1st with the aim of crossing Australia, nearly 4,000 kilometers, and raising $1 million for homelessness charity We Are Mobilize. Brockman, equipped with a flowing blonde mullet, hit his $1 million target on Friday and conquered his running challenge, which saw him cover more than 80 million kilometers a day on average, to the cheers of thousands of adoring fans. Now, after a quick break, your trending stories, and Ale joins us for one last look at the weather. We'll be right back.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
LCG Auction House auctioned off a first-release 2007 iPhone over the weekend. The smartphone is the first model of iPhones to ever be introduced to the world back on January 9th, 2007. It was still in its original box and factory sealed. 15 years ago, the device retailed for around $500 to $600. The auction house expected it to go for at least $30,000. Sunday's winning bid was exactly $39,399.60.
Monday evening, actor Selma Blair spun through the ballroom dance floor one last time before stepping down from Dancing with the Stars. The actress announced that she had to bow out of the competition due to health concerns after being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2018, a disease of the central nervous system. Barber says, quote, "I've been monitored and in touch with my doctors this whole process. I had these MRIs and the result came back and it all adds up to I can't go on with the competition," end quote. The Dancing with the Stars cast shared an emotional but encouraging final moment together on stage before Blair officially left the competition.
A New York City restaurant owner banned James Corden from his restaurant a few days ago. Keith McNally, the owner, said Corden is a, quote, hugely gifted comedian, but a tiny cretin of a man. Allegedly, Corden was rude to restaurant staff. Following the incident, McNally banned Corden from his restaurant. After finding out he was banned, Corden reportedly called the restaurant and, quote, apologized profusely. Now McNally has been unbanned and Corden has said, quote, all is forgiven.
Chloe, how do you feel about James Corden being banned from that restaurant?
I think that he was very rude to the people. You know, I was researching this story and He was not being kind to that staff, so, you know, as he should. I think that the restaurant owner was very forgiving for allowing him to come back. So
I completely agree with you.
all right, well now we're gonna toss it right back to Ale one last time tonight to give us a look at the weekend forecast. Take it away, Ale.
All right, well, luckily the weekend looks a lot like Friday with the warm weather continuing into Friday. The temperature for Saturday will be in the high 60s with a high of 67 degrees throughout most of the day. I definitely feel like the weather outside will be better since the wind gusts from Friday will be dying down as well. Friday night, we'll see a bit of a cool down, but it will still be comfortable for anyone out and about. On Sunday, we continue with the great fall weather as temperature climbs all the way up to under 70 degrees. It feels like the temperature will hit above 70, so definitely a great day to get outside and enjoy the weather while it lasts. And lastly, some clouds do roll over in, but for the most part, blue skies will still be here for all year weekend. To start off the work and school week, we do see a tiny dip in the temperatures, but still nothing to complain about, as we'll be seeing sunshine and a high of 64 degrees for your Monday. So it'll be a wonderful weekend and week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ale.
And with that, that does it for another week of News 11. Thank you so much to our cast and crew.
And of course, thanks to everyone watching at home. We'll be back next week. Have a great night.